Letting number 8713, concrete and brick removal, replacement, and complete sidewalk installation, SP 112. We have 2 bids. E. Meyer Contracting, EMEIER Contracting, $827,910. 827.910.00. SBC Contracting, Inc. SBC Contracting, Inc. $776,565. 776,565.00. Would the low bidder please meet with Ms. Bryant in the hallway? Thank you. Yes.
Hearing number 8238 is being conducted pursuant to Section 26.100.030 of the Revised Code of the City of St. Louis. The purpose of the continued hearing is to determine whether the conditional use permit issued to Neighborhood Good Eats CO Eric Young to occupy 6101 Lillian as a restaurant with sit-down, carry-out, and outdoor cooking with 22% liquor, subject to certain conditions, should be revoked. The conditional use permit number is 125377. The condition in question is as follows. Condition 1. The windows must be kept clear of clutter and only permitted areas of windows covered by signs in accordance with city ordinances and in accordance with these conditions. Application shall be made for all signs and approved by the Office of the Zoning Administrator before installation. The Office of the Zoning Administrator has the burden to prove the conditional use permit conditions have not been complied with. After all evidence of the Zoning Administrator has been presented, the Board will ask for additional testimony, if any, in support of the revocation. Then the conditional use holder will be given the opportunity to present evidence. Lastly, the Board will hear other testimony in opposition to the revocation, if any. Your testimony is being recorded. When you come forward, please state your name and address and be sworn in. As you testify, please direct your comments to the Board and not to those in the audience. Members of the audience are asked to remain silent and not coach the witnesses. During your testimony, members of this Board may have questions for you. Following the hearing, the Board will proceed with its regular agenda. Following the conclusion of the regular agenda, the Board will deliberate, discuss, and vote on the hearing. The Board will notify the conditional use holder of its decision by mail in about 2 weeks. The Board of Public Service has in its possession the following documents which are being introduced into evidence. Item 1, a certified copy of the zoning code of the City of St. Louis. Item 2, the conditional use permit number 125377 issued to Neighbors Good Eats CO Eric Young on November 7, 2017 to occupy 6101 Lillian as a restaurant with sit-down, carry-out, and outdoor cooking and 22% liquor, subject to certain conditions. Item 3, a letter dated August 13, 2019, sent to Neighbors Good Eats CO Eric Young, warning of the violation of condition number 1 that was found upon a recent site inspection, and the potential for a revocation hearing should the violation not be corrected within 30 days of the date of the letter. Item 4, a memorandum dated September 23, 2019, from the zoning inspector to the zoning administrator stating that upon that date, the zoning inspector found violation of condition number 1 of the conditional use permit. This memo includes photographs documenting the violation. And item 5, certified letters dated January 7, 2020, sent to Neighbors Good Eats CO Eric Young and Taylor Young Properties LLC property owner from the board secretary providing notice of this hearing. At this time, the board asks a representative of the Office of Zoning Administrator please come forward and be sworn in.
I do. Dylan Mosier, zoning plan examiner for the city of St. Louis, acting as zoning inspector, representing the building commissioner.
Can you please tell us about your inspection and any possible violations in question?
Yeah, so I went out on site to the location. It was approximately noon, 12 noon. I think I was there for about a half an hour. Prior to that, I did a search through our permitting database to see if any permits for signage had been pulled. I did find a permit application, AB, 554067. It was applied for and issued same day on December 18th, 2019. I was actually the personal plan examiner who reviewed that document and gave it approval for zoning. That application was for one wall sign and one ground sign. And so again, that was approved. So I went and visited the site. Again, it was about noon today. I pulled up and I found 3 signs on the building. So there's one sign. It is above the door, the main entrance, I should say. It's what we call a cabinet sign. I think it's interiorly lit. And then there is a ground marquee sign. Those are the 2 signs that were approved. Then there was a third sign. It's on the northeastern face of the building, so it's in block, so it would be facing the adjacent residential house, and it's also a sign that advertises the business. There was no permit for that sign. I went ahead and I entered the property and talked to the proprietor Eric Young. And I let him know because I was confused. He came in after the last time that they were here. I think that was November 19th, and there was a continuation of the hearing. And I, pretty frankly explained the situation. I said, why is there? You got 3 signs. You came in. You paid the money, made the effort to apply for this sign. As far as I know, the sign would have been approved had it been applied for, but anyways, it hadn't been applied for. I let him speak to sort of why that was the case. He was sort of confused about that aspect of it. And then I just said, hey, I'm going to take some pictures of the property and complete my investigation. He and a colleague of his they tried to remove the sign that was in question. And I went ahead and I was going to allow them to do that for technical reasons, I guess. They couldn't get the sign off the building at the time, so I had to leave. So I went ahead and I took my pictures, and I'm here. My report states that condition number 1 is still in violation because they don't have a permit for that sign. Then, just less than an hour ago, or about an hour ago, at 12:51, I got an email from Mr. Young. And it's actually photos of the sign being removed. I didn't update my report just because I wasn't personally there to take the photo. I don't know. I have no reason not to believe the gentleman, but, in the world of Photoshop and fake photos and things like that, it seemed most appropriate that I would keep my report the way that it was. But, assuming that is not a doctored photo, which I don't think it is, they would no longer be in violation. That's kind of my story as far as everything that I experienced today.
So just a couple questions, just to make sure I am clear on this. So the sign over the door, Neighbors Good Eats, the barber sign, and the sign over the adjacent barber shop all have permits?
I can't speak to the barbershop sign. That is a separate business, and I hope I didn't make a mistake in my investigation today. But coming into this, I know you guys have some experience, and my colleague Myra Turner was the investigator at the
That's
time.
right.
I was investigating for the Neighbors Good Eats.
Okay, so the sign that was on the side of the building that was facing the residence that shows to be removed was for Neighbors Good Eats, and that's why it was an issue, correct?
Correct. And to be totally clear, I believe that sign actually advertises both businesses, just to be absolutely 100% clear. Yes, I see kind of the upper portion of it. Seems to be advertising Cuts and Styles or something like that, and the bottom portion is the Good Eats.
So this is a situation where we have multiple businesses in one building, but the real issue was for Neighbors Good Eats and signs not being permitted. And as you testified now by the submittal from conditional use holder, the pictures show the sign in violation has been removed. So if that's the case, are you satisfied the violation has been cured?
I'm satisfied, yes. The conditional use permit that was issued, 125377, it was just for the Good Eats business, and the barbershop would require its own separate occupancy permits. I was inside the building. It was, from my understanding, I didn't do a full investigation for this, but there wasn't like a through insurance between the two businesses, so both businesses should require separate approvals.
Yeah. Any further questions from the board for our zoning inspector? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Yes.
If there's anyone else present who wishes to testify the noted conditions have not been complied with, please come forward and be sworn in. Oh. Seeing none, the board asks the representative of the Department of Health to please come forward and be sworn in.
Yes, I do. My name is Patrick Nabian, the supervisor for food and beverage control, City of St. Louis. On Friday, I sent out one of my inspectors to go and take a look at 6101 Neighborhood 8, and she came back to say that they have one critical violation and two non-critical violations. The critical violation was the fact that the person in charge did not have certificate of sanitation. That's what we call the food manager certification. And two, the non-critical, the non-food contact surfaces were not clean. And also they had to reach areas like under the bench or under the drawers, or those difficult places were not clean. So today, since I knew this hearing was coming up, I asked her to go back there again. And she came back to say that Mr. Eric Young has not registered for the certification. Because usually what we do is, if it is something that has to do with the testing of the candidate, we give them some time to be able to test for that. But all they will need to do is to show us that they have registered for the exam or for the test, as the case may be. What I got this afternoon at about 1:15 was a voucher receipt showing that he is still looking for somewhere to register for that test. And so for now, the inspector that went in has downgraded his facility to a B because he has not met up these conditions. So that is what we have from the head side.
So as of today, we still have one violation. Is that what it sounds like?
Yes.
And tell me one more time, what exactly is that?
It is, we call the manager certification, which is the, in all establishment, either the manager is going to be there all the time as a certified holder of that certificate, or is going to employ some other people who will be there, but at least we must have someone that have the certificate, the food manager certificate, at the establishment at every given time. And it looks like it is his own personal business. So he's the one doing everything. And he hasn't won. And that's why we say that it's in violation.
Okay. So is that easily correctable, I assume? It could be easily corrected?
Well, if he's prepared to take the test, yes. But if he's not prepared to take the test, then the answer will be no.
Okay. So at this time, we have an issue where it's in violation and he would need to take steps to rectify it.
That's correct.
And that's not been done at this moment?
No.
Okay. And have you talked to the conditional use permit holder about this?
Yes, the inspector that went out spoke with him, even up today.
Okay.
They talked about it, yeah.
And so he's aware of what he needs to do?
Yeah.
Okay. Questions from the board for our health inspector?
I have a question. I think that the owner was, or the operator was notified of a signage issue, but it sounds like he had a real life consequence. You have a recourse until he's done this. Did you say you downgraded the rating?
Yeah, I am from the health department.
Right.
I'm from the
Right.
zoning. What happened is, on Friday, the inspector went there and saw 2 non-critical violations and 1 critical violation. The non-critical violation, usually we allow them to work with it because it may not be something too serious. That is like cleaning the surfaces or cleaning under the cupboard or something. That is something they can take some time to do. So that will be due during the next inspection. But what we consider very critical at the time is the critical violation. And so usually we give them 48 hours to be able to correct the critical violation. In this case, it has to do with a test. And so you cannot go and do a test within 48 hours. Or
And most
24
people
hours.
have to take a class to study for the
Yes,
test, don't
yes,
they? And
yeah.
that usually takes days
Yes.
to go attend it.
Yeah, so what we do is the inspector will go back after 48 hours and say, have you registered for the exam? Show me a receipt of when you are going to take the test and the money that you have paid. And we will put that on record and then give them, if they are going to take maybe 2 weeks or 30 days to prepare for the exam, we allow them. And then after the exam, the inspector will go back and confirm that they have taken the test and they are now ready. But as of this afternoon, there was no confirmation that he has registered for the test.
If this case gets closed, will you continue to follow up and make sure that that gets into compliance?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because as it is now, we've not closed the establishment. So what we have downgraded the establishment from an A to a B, which means the next round of inspection, whoever is going there, the inspector that is going there, is going to ask the same question again. Have you taken the test? Do you have your credentials now to be able to operate your facility? And if he says no, then that is a new problem, which means that might take him or her to a C. And after the C, I think that will be the end. We don't go more than that.
And he's aware that.
Yes, he's
Okay.
aware.
Thank you.
All right.
Further questions from the board for our health inspector? Seeing none, thank you. At this time, the board asks our conditional use permit holder to please come forward and be sworn in.
I do. Eric Young.
tell us what you'd like to tell us, and then I have a few questions, please.
There's nothing to say. I was in violation with this gentleman. He did work with me. Now, I honestly didn't. I really forgot about the sign on the side. I try to do my best to deal with everything. When I tried to take the test last year with the health inspector, I went over to Beaumont, the computers or whatever was down. I work by myself. At the moment when she came in, I was in the process of cooking food. Now, if anybody knows, there's always a bucket of water somewhere. When you have a crowd, you can't necessarily get everything up at one time. I mean, I don't have too much to say. What's wrong? There's nothing to say. I understand the test to take. I know what to do with the test. It's just finding the 8 hours out of a 12-hour day to take the test. That's it. If I can get a chance to take it online, I could take it online. I don't have nothing to say.
So today, this board is looking at a continued revocation hearing for condition number 1, which was signage permits and clutter in the window and so forth. The proof that you've submitted today with the pictures is, and by our zoning inspector is that you have satisfied that. So as far as this board is concerned today, for this conditional use, we will be discussing that particular item. However, we always bring in the health inspector because it's very important to us that as a business conditional use holder, that you are up to snuff on your health code and the things you are supposed to do there as well. So today, he outlined a number of items and said you have one item left to do. I realize it is an issue of time. I understand that you're a business owner by yourself. However, I think he was pretty clear with our counselor today that if you don't do this, that your ratings will deplete, and at some point they will take away your rating to do business. That is not a function of this board, but my recommendation would be to you is to work with him and find time and take this test and get this done so you can continue to operate your business.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Will you do that?
Yeah, I guess I went online and filled out the wrong paperwork, and I got the test back. I didn't get all the other information out of the receipt for taking the test. Now, for the date of the test, there was no date on there.
Right.
But I guess I took the steps. I have the receipt in my phone.
I would follow up with the health inspector and work through that issue so you can get that matter resolved. But I believe as far as this board is concerned, you've resolved the matter with the conditional use problem. But I'm going to open the floor up to the board for any additional questions they might have.
Yeah, just for my own education, what locations in the city or close by in the county do they do the test that based on your research, and how often do they offer this test? Or I may be mistaken, can you take it online, or what has your research shown about this critical test that you need to complete?
My research showed that maybe last year around the summertime I went to Beaumont. That's off of Grand and the Natural Bridge, Grand Kings, wherever that is.
I'm familiar.
In the back, that's where I was going to take it at. And at that time, I guess it was a computer failure or whatever. I was going to take it there. Other than that, I don't know where else to take it.
Okay.
That's why I was like, I can take it online if it's that issue.
I don't want to put the health department on the spot, but I'm sure they're quite familiar of the test and what the options are for taking it to assist you to get you on that right track. Because, like the president said, there's not much we can do if you don't have that, if you haven't completed that test for your business.
Additional questions from the board?
Just while you're here, did you ask the health department, were you made aware of the classes that you can take to study for the test?
When I first got into business, I was issued a book, and I learned to study it on my own and went by the rules. So I wasn't really aware of the 8-hour class. I was aware of getting the book and just going to take the test. So.
I strongly suggest that if there's a list of classes or whatnot, or just information for you, that take advantage of the time that the health representative is here, because that information would be really good to have.
Yes, ma'am.
Any additional questions? Seeing none, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
If there's anyone else present opposing this revocation that wishes to testify, please come forward and be sworn in at this time. Seeing none. Before we close this hearing, I'd like to introduce the report from the zoning inspector as Exhibit A in the evidence, and the photographs from our conditional use permit holder as Exhibit B. The matter concerning hearing number 8238 is now closed and submitted. The board will proceed now with its regular agenda. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie is excused. Director Wilson?
Here.
Director Hayes?
Here.
Director Augustin?
Here.
Director Eccles?
Here.
Director Edwards? He's present. He stepped out. And President Bradley.
Here we have a quorum. I'll call a meeting in order.
From the President, plans and specifications for letting number 8716, Parks Administration Building Renovations, project number R 2019-41064, St. Louis, Missouri. Preliminary approval for letting number 8707, Chlorine Building Makeup Unit Replacement at the Chain of Rocks and Howard Bean Water Treatment Plant, St. Louis, Missouri, Water Division. Supplemental Agreement number 1 to PSA number 1208, Real Estate Acquisition and Appraisal Services for Multiple Transportation Improvement Projects. Supplemental Agreement number 1 to PSA number 1221, Retro Commissioning, Assessment, Studies, and Design Implementation Services of Energy Efficiency Measure Projects at 4 city buildings. Equipment Services Division Service Contract for OSHA Annual Inspections, 5-year NDT Certification Diagnosis, Dielectric and Lead Testing, Repair Replacement Service, Test and Wrench Check of Critical Fasteners on various aerial fire apparatus equipment. From the President and Director of Public Utilities, joint recommendation that permit for Metropolitan St. Louis Sewer District to construct sanitary relief sewers across 48 Bond Hills at Dillman to Ashmont. The overall project consists of construction of approximately 6,300 linear feet of 8-inch to 21-inch diameter sanitary sewer. Recommends approval subject to certain conditions. From the President and Directors of Public Utilities and Streets, joint recommendation that the following permits be approved subject to certain conditions as follows. Hillsdale's demolition to demolish bridges and crosswalks at 2654 Lucas and City Block 2600. And Washington University School of Medicine to remove and replace a failed steam line and pavement at 660 South Euclid in City Block 4782. From the President, Director of Public Utilities, Streets, and Parks, Recreation, and Forestry, joint recommendation that permit for a Developer Place Special Business District to install new pedestal, pedestrian lights, and underground electrical circuits connected to existing street light circuits, and tree trimming of lower branches on Persian Avenue between Union Avenue and Belt in City Block 3873 and 3877. Washington University, St. Louis School of Medicine for public improvement for facility parking lot redevelopment and building rehabilitation at 1234 South Kings Highway near Swan Avenue, which will include building demolition and parking and storm water improvements. From the President and Director of Streets, joint recommendation that permit for Giovanni Restaurant to encroach with a handicap ramp at 5201 shall be approved subject to certain conditions. From the Director of Public Utilities. Recommendation that City of Olivet to encroach with the walking trail and storm sewer modification in the street right-of-way at 595 through 785 Dillman Road be approved subject to certain conditions. Recommendation that the board declares as emergency action labor reports to correct violation noted in annual state elevator inspection for the Coagulant House unit located at the Howard Bend Water Treatment Plant. Recommends approval. From the Director of Public Utilities and Streets, joint recommendation that the following permits be approved subject to certain conditions as follows. MCI, starting at existing handhold located at 8594 Riverview Place North for 1,380 feet. At this point, place new handhold at 1451 Veronica. Then continue north for 638 feet. At this point, turn east and continue 250 feet. At this point, place new handhold at 1525 Orchard. MCI Metro Access, starting at the front of 3725 Augustine, place handhold and bore 128 feet south to Chippewa. Turn west and bore 1,092 feet along the north side of Chippewa and place handhold in front of 4101 Chippewa, etc. MCI Access to place new handholds and conduit for fiber optic cable, starting at existing handhold located at 4301 Sulphur, bore and place conduit 953 feet south along the west side of Sulphur, placing handhold on the side of 5801 Devonshire, continue south 320 feet along the west side of Sulphur, turn east 57 feet, crossing to the east side of Sulphur, then turn south and bore 511 feet along the east side of Sulphur, etc. MCI Metro Access to place new handholds and conduit for fiber optic cable, starting at handhold to be placed on another permit request located in front of 3296 South Kings Highway, bore and place conduit 135 feet south along the east side of street, placing handhold in front of 3300 South Kings Highway, etc. MCI Access, starting by placing new handhold across alley from 4917 Oletha. From this handhold, bore conduit for new fiber 127 feet east along the north side of Oletha, etc. MCI Access to place new handholds and conduit for fiber optic cable, starting at existing handhold located in front of 6098 Arsenal, bore conduit for new fiber 1,380 feet northeast along the east side of Watson, then turn north and bore 304 feet along the west side of Sulphur to existing handhold located at the southeast corner of 6031 Southwest Avenue, etc. AT&T, starting at 100 North Kings Highway and ending at 100 North Kings Highway. AT&T, starting at existing AT&T manhole located on Lake Avenue at the alley south of Delmore, side 5200 Delmore. From this manhole, bore west down alley for 226 feet and meet up with customer provided conduit at the rear of 5200 Delmore. Charter will be cutting 6x6 hole at the base of the pole at the building in order to gain access to the basement of 308 North 21st. The hole will be cut east of 21st in the alley north of Olive, etc. Charter Communications, starting at existing Charter PED behind 1204 South 13th Street, bore north across Hickory, 92 feet to the right-of-way. Then turn to the west and bore 160 feet. Stop and turn north again and bore to the PED 67 feet away and stop behind 1127 South 13th Street. Verizon, This is for Smile Seal facility from new Smile Seal light pole located on the west side of Kings Highway, 103 feet north of Laclede Avenue, near 1 North Kings Highway, bore or trench 11 feet southwest. Turn and bore or trench 188 feet south-southwest to New Amarin Power Pedestrian to be located near the southwest corner of the intersection of Kings Highway and Laclede. Verizon Wireless for a new Smile Seal light pole located on the west side of DeVolliver Avenue, 120 feet north of Waterman, near 401 DeVolliver. Bore or trench 4 feet southwest. Turn and bore or trench 100 feet south-southwest. Turn and bore or trench 146 west-northwest. Turn and bore or trench 151 feet north-northeast. Turn and bore or trench 32 feet northwest to existing wooden power pole with transformer. Power pole is located in alleyway behind 5715 Waterman. Verizon Wireless from new Smile Seal light pole located on the west side of Forest Avenue, 30 feet south of Nashville, near 6900 Nashville Avenue. Bore or trench 114 feet south-southwest. Turn and bore or trench 98 feet east-southeast to existing wooden power pole with transformer. Power pole is located in alleyway behind 6820 Nashville Avenue. Verizon Wireless from new Smile Seal light pole located on the southeast corner of Clayton and Craft Street near 6646 Clayton. Bore or trench 46 feet north-northeast. Turn and bore or trench 79 feet northwest to existing wooden power pole with transformer. Power pole is located on the north side of Clayton, near address 6657 Clayton Avenue. Verizon Wireless for new Smile Seal light pole located on the west side of Craft, 43 feet south of Dale, near 6712 Dale Avenue. Bore or trench 97 feet south-southeast. Turn and bore or trench 96 feet west. Turn and bore or trench 83 feet south to existing wooden power pole with transformer. Power pole is located in alleyway behind 1421 Craft. Verizon Wireless from new Smile Seal light pole located on the west side of North Skinker, 45 feet south of Delmore, near 6200 Delmore. Bore or trench 6 feet southwest. Turn and bore or trench 74 feet southwest. Turn and bore or trench 172 feet west to existing wooden power pole with transformer. Power pole is located in alleyway behind 6215 Washington. Verizon Wireless from new Smile Seal light pole located on the northeast corner of North Skinker and McPherson near 400 North Skinker. Bore or trench 5 feet northeast. Turn and bore or trench 118 feet north-northeast. Turn and bore or trench 91 feet east-northeast to existing wooden power pole with transformer. Power pole is located in alleyway behind 6186 Kingsbury. Verizon Wireless from new Smile Seal light pole located on the east side of Clara, 173 feet north of Pershing, near 314 Clara Avenue. Bore trench 46 feet northwest. Turn and bore or trench 154 feet west-northwest to existing wooden power pole with transformer. Power pole is located in alleyway behind 5617 Pershing. Verizon Wireless from new Smile Seal light pole located on the east side of Blenden Place near 1120 Blenden Place. Bore or trench 198 feet southwest. Turn and bore or trench 53 feet southwest. Turn and bore or trench 138 feet west-northwest. Turn and bore or trench 9 feet northwest to existing wooden power pole with transformer. Power pole is located in alleyway behind 1133 Blenden Place. And XDNet starting with an existing Ameren manhole that is 8 feet north and 1 feet west of the southeast corner of South 16th and Walnut Street intersection, bore 67 feet north of the existing light pole on the east side of South 16th. There will be a bore pit on the north end and no new handholds. From the Director of Public Utilities and Public Safety, joint recommendation that the following permits be approved subject to certain conditions as follows. White Castle Corporation to consolidate land at 4984 through 4990 Natural Bridge and 4967 through 71 Palm in City Block 4455. Affordable City Homes of St. Louis, Inc. to consolidate land at 1118 South Ewing, 2831 Hickory, and 2835 through 37 Hickory in City Block 1260. Affordable City Homes of St. Louis, Inc. to consolidate land at 2777 Rucker and 2747 Rucker in City Block 1817. DREK LLC to subdivide land at 2827 Oregon in City Block 1426. And Land Clearance for Redevelopment Authority of the City of St. Louis to subdivide land at 5535 through 55 Delmore, 5559 through 5579 Delmore, 5505 Delmore, 731 Belt, 713 through 27 Belt in City Block 4549 be approved subject to certain conditions. From the Director of Public Safety. Now we have the conditional uses.
Good afternoon, board members. President Bradley. My name is Dylan Mosier, zoning plan examiner for the City of St. Louis, representing the building commissioner. Per board order number 766, transmitted herewith are recommendations for the following conditional use agenda applications. Approval is recommended for 2 applications, 5615 through 5653 Ashland, and 5614 through 5616 and 5618 through 5636 Hebert. Approval with conditions is recommended for 6 applications, 5067 Lindenwood, 4328 Goodfellow, 5950 Alpha, 5215 Emerson, 2720 North 14th Street, and 5570 Filer. I request these recommendations be approved as submitted.
Are there any questions from the board on today's conditional uses?
I just have one. On our agenda, there's a 5328 Goodfellow, and I noticed you said 4328, which is the correct address.
Sure. No, just a moment. Let me just double check. You're correct. 5328 Goodfellow.
Thanks.
Any additional comments or questions from the board?
Motion to approve with that correction.
Second.
Moved in second for approval. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie is excused. Director Wilson?
Aye.
Director Hayes?
Aye.
Director Augustin?
Aye.
Director Eccles?
Aye.
Director Edwards? He's here. And President Bradley?
Aye. Today's conditional uses are approved. Hearing number 8238 for 6101 Lillian, Neighborhood Good Eats. This was a continued revocation hearing. We heard from our zoning department that per the inspection this morning, that condition number 1, which was signage issues being permitted, was still in violation. Between then and our meeting today, the conditional use permit holder emailed photographs of the subject sign that was in violation that has been removed. We heard from the health inspector that there is an issue with the conditional use permit holder that needs to take a class, and it was explained to him that although this board is obviously concerned with health violations, that today's conditional use dealt with condition number 1. We heard from the conditional use holder that he did remove the sign. He works by himself, and he has some information on the class, and he certainly will follow up and take the class as required by the health department. There was no one else in support or opposition to today's hearing. So with that, I'll open the floor for any question or discussion from the board.
I guess, I was going to move that we do not revoke the conditional use permit since the signing is no longer an issue.
Second.
Moved and second not to revoke. Further discussion?
I think we need to confirm that the sign has actually been moved first. So after the signage,
So we have photographs of the sign that was removed, and I asked our zoning inspector if it was good enough for him to note that it was removed. He said, yes, it is. We asked the conditional use permit holder if he did remove the sign. He said yes. So in my humble opinion, I think that's probably good enough. Any further commentary from the board? Seeing none, can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie is excused. Director Wilson.
Aye.
Director Hayes.
Aye.
Director Gustin.
Aye.
Director Eccles.
Aye.
Director Edwards. And President Bradley.
Aye, not revoked. I'd like to turn your attention to our meeting minutes from last Tuesday, January 21st, 2020. Are there any questions or comments on the meeting minutes?
I move to approve the minutes.
second.
Moved and second for approval of last week's minutes. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie is excused. Director Wilson.
Aye.
Director Hayes.
Aye.
Director Gustin.
Aye.
Director Eccles.
Aye.
Director Edwards. And President Bradley.
Aye, last week's minutes are approved. Addendum number 1. Are there any questions or comments on the addendum? Seeing none, take a motion, please.
Motion to approve the addendum.
Second.
Moved to second for approval of the addendum. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie is excused. Director Wilson.
Aye.
Director Hayes.
Aye.
Director Gustin.
Aye.
Director Eccles.
Aye.
Director Edwards. And President Bradley.
Aye, the addendum's approved. Today's agenda, questions or comments on the agenda? Seeing none, take a motion, please.
I move to approve the agenda.
Previous roll.
Okay, so I got a second and call for previous roll. Is there
Take
any
that,
objection
Hayes.
to the use of previous roll? Seeing none, the agenda is approved. Before we adjourn today, I believe this is Irene's last meeting. Is that right?
It is.
All right. So I think I speak on behalf of the board, and I want to say, first of all, thank you for the outstanding service that you've provided to this board, the citizens of St. Louis, and to the city. We definitely appreciate that, and I believe we all wish you the best on your future endeavors, and we hope to cross paths sometime very soon. So, thank you. All right, with that, I would like to ask for a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.